The number one export of the United States is largely produced by black people, but we control very little of it. It's culture, whether we're talking about music, fashion, sports, entertainment. We produce it, and yet we control very little of it. After slavery was abolished, a lot of slaves stayed on the plantation. It's not that they necessarily loved it. Some of them probably just didn't know how they were going to survive. Maybe they could have, but some of them just didn't know what that looked like. Freedom sounded cool, but it was very scary. It's very uncertain. And so it is today. We have the internet. We have all the tools available to take anything we do to the world, to own it, control it, and monetize it. What's stopping us? Fear. And maybe some people just really love the plantation. This game is about control now. The way that you make sure your people survive, the way that you provide opportunity for your people, you have to control industries. And so Korean people decided to take over the black beauty supply industry, and they provided their kids with jobs and a platform to get education and to advance. They didn't look for equity and inclusion and diversity. They went in trying to control an industry. And if you want to open a beauty supply store today, that is going to be very difficult. They got the stores on lock. They got the distribution on lock. It's about controlling an industry. So why don't you control these industries? Why are you still content to labor on a plantation? Why are you still looking for a record deal when we have the internet? You can put out your own music, control it, own it, monetize it. Why do we need the NBA when you are all the talent? All the players are black. What is stopping you from withdrawing from that league and just doing your own thing and controlling it and making sure all the agents are black? What's stopping you from making sure that all the entertainment attorneys are black? What's stopping you? Fear. And maybe some people just love the plantation. You got to understand, the NBA has not always been the NBA. As late as the 1970s, the NBA Finals was on tape delay. They had to build it up, and so could we. And so maybe LeBron James, you won't make $40 million next year. Maybe you make $1 million. Maybe it's $500,000. But with a group consciousness, you say, that's fine. I'll sacrifice today for the group so that we control this league going forward. We don't need to labor on this plantation anymore. And I get that, it's not just a sacrifice in terms of money, but there's also prestige and status. If you're a young guy, you want to be Rookie of the Year. You want to be an NBA Finals MVP. You want those accolades. But look at what Tyler Perry did. He said, I may not ever win an Oscar, but I don't need your affirmation. I can do my own thing, and I can be a legend at the bank, and I can control my life and control my world. What's more valuable? Is it scary? Yes. Is it uncertain? Yes. But you've got to get off this plantation if you're going to control anything and give your people a chance. You got to get off the plantation. Some of this is just fear. Oppression may not feel good, but it's familiar. So go back to the Bible, the story of the Exodus. Moses led the people out of Egypt. Yay, we're not slaves anymore. And they got out into the wilderness, and a lot of them said, you know what? In Egypt, at least we ate good. Maybe we should go back. These people actually wanted to go back to bondage because it was familiar. Freedom is scary. And I think that's stopping a lot of us right now. It's not about inclusion. It's about what can you control. We are producing the number one exports in this country, and we're not controlling any of it. And that's shame on us. We're content to be on this plantation. We have all the digital tools now to take your message, to take your talents, to take all of this to the world. You don't need a record label. You don't need their plantation. Put it out yourself. Go on tour yourself. Book some venues yourself. We don't need the NBA. We don't need the NFL. Okay, it won't be as big today. I get it. But we have to develop a group consciousness, and we have to stop being bought off for the cheap. Somebody can throw you a contract for $2 million a year, $10 million a year. Okay, that's cool, but after so many years, okay, you've made some money. It's time to pull out. It's time to withdraw. It's time to make the bold move and be courageous enough to get off the plantation. If the NBA was on tape delay in the 1970s, you know what? With the internet now, it won't take us that long. We don't need decades to build this up. We can build it up pretty quickly. The world follows us. We dictate culture, and we're monetizing none of it. We've got to control these industries, be gatekeepers to these industries, and make sure it is a group project. That's how we get ahead.